Oh, someone I think is coming to my house, or not. All right, if they come in the door, I'll just have to motion to them to be quiet. All right, that's the housemaid. All right, without further ado, it's recording. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Vincent Ferrer, Master Vincent. Welcome to Nature of Reality Radio. I heard about you when you friended me on YouTube. Excuse me, on Facebook, and I see that you do yoga, Reiki, Qigong, the kind of things that I like. Really like anything spiritual, but that stuff is really worth talking about. Even if I have many guests on the subject, it's never gets old. So why don't you first of all tell us who you are, introduce yourself, primary source style, and then we'll get into some serious questions. Who are you, and how did you do the stuff that you do? Knock yourself out.
Hi, Andrew. It's an honor to be on your show today. Thanks for having me. My name is Vincent Ferrer. I'm a Christian mystic. I am a Taoist immortal. I'm a Reiki master teacher. I'm a Raja Yoga master, and I've created my own art form, which is called Raja Qigong. I got into yoga when I tore my Achilles about 16 years ago. I was divinely led into yoga. I was told by the doctors I was never going to be able to run again, and within 90 days, I was up and running again, so I healed myself from that injury. After I healed myself, I decided to be a yoga teacher. When I lost my father, I got my yoga teacher training, and then I started meeting people who were into energy work. I've always been interested in healing. That's when I started my journey as an energy healer.
Thank you. So being told by the doctors that you're not going to be able to do something and then defying the odds, that's something to be very proud of on a life resume. You're certainly not the first one to have done that. Do you credit it as do you consider it to be a miracle, or just no, there's no miracle here, it's just hard work and making the most of what is metaphysically available for me to do?
It's definitely not a miracle. It was a miracle that I was led to yoga. That was a miracle. That was divine guidance, but it was hard work and mental strength. The bottom line is, when you receive an injury like that, if it defeats you spiritually and mentally, you're not going to be able to come back from the injury. But whatever the injury is, depending on the depth of the injury, because I'm sure there are some exceptions, but as long as you mentally make a decision, I'm going to start being active again, I'm going to heal from this, you're going to be able to move forward from that. Because I've had actually 2 or 3 more career-ending injuries past that, where I thought I'm never going to get past this injury, but I didn't give up mentally. I just kept showing up on my yoga mat, and I was able to defy the odds. And what it comes down to is, do you have the willpower to get up and to keep moving and to push past your misfortunes?
Love that attitude of yours. And you say you created your own style. Is that a trademarked style, or not? You haven't trademarked or copyrighted it or anything. You're just saying it's your own style because you don't know of anybody else who's used that style of yours that you say that you've created. And so is it really your own unique style, even though you haven't copyrighted or registered it as a trademark or anything? And what is unique about it compared to other styles?
So Raja Qigong is Raja Yoga combined with Qigong. Raja Yoga has been the same thing for 3,000 years, and it's not going to change. Qigong has been the same thing for 3,000 years, and it's not going to change. So the Raja Yoga and the Qigong aspect of it are just Raja Yoga and Qigong combined into one. What makes Raja Qigong different, it's just like how Bruce Lee came out with Jeet Kune Do. He learned Wing Chun, he learned some of the Kung Fu, he learned boxing, he learned fencing, and then he created his own style. Raja Qigong is the same thing. It's built on the same foundations, but there are certain unique differences. For example, the main unique differences are the meditations and the immortal practices. In the Taoist tradition, many years ago, they would hide the highest level techniques with cryptic wording. And unless you got to really have a good apprenticeship with the master and he explained to you what the cryptic wording meant, it would be really hard for a foreigner or somebody to really fully understand the high level aspects of Taoist internal alchemy. But in Raja Yogong, not only does it combine the high levels of Taoist internal alchemy, but it also adds in the modern sciences that have come about, especially within the last 60 to 100 years, and definitely within the last 30 years, because of all of the controlled experimentation and the high level scientific equipment that we had to advance our scientific knowledge on the body, the cells, so on and so forth.
Okay, some people think, how is yoga supposed to really do you any good? Just basically staying in one place and changing your body into different positions. How exactly is that supposed to like be of any good? Well, apparently it is. I've tried it myself, and I definitely like the results. So how exactly does, for those that are skeptical of this, how does yoga really help you when you're moving your body? What are the different positions that you're putting your body in? What are they symbols of, and how do they metaphysically work? Can you silence the skeptics?
Okay, first of all, skepticism is a good thing, but closed-mindedness is a bad thing. So open-mindedness is the cure to closed-mindedness, and short-sightedness is a hindrance, whereas long-sightedness is not. So the only way that we learn is through scientific explanation. And if it can't be explained logically, if it can't be evidence-based explained, then don't even listen to it. You have to figure it out for yourself. But if you're coming into something already with a closed mind, you've already failed. So you only learn through experimentation, and there are different levels to truth. So there are lower truths and there are higher truths. And when you're in the realm of the lower truth, you might not understand the higher truths. Now, when it comes to the yoga, it's a traditional American misunderstanding that yoga is just the postures. Because really what yoga is postures with breath work, meditation, and concentration techniques that make your mind, your intellect, your memory, your spirit, your soul, your body, and your emotions one, and make that one with the entire existence of the omniverse. That's what yoga is. But when it comes to the physical postures of the yoga, there are 40 main postures, and it's well known and scientifically documented that these poses are good for you. And if you can just look at the evidence, the yoga masters are all living to be 86, 90 years old, whereas people who are not doing yoga are not living to be that old. And when the yoga asanas were invented, they were invented for a society that was getting sick. And the yogis brought this on as medicine for people so that they could live a long, healthy life, and they didn't have to have knee issues, hip issues, neck issues, back issues, all of those types of issues. But these 40 poses that you do, anybody can do them. You don't have to be specifically physically talented. You don't have to be a professional athlete. And if you add these 40 poses into your lifestyle, you are guaranteed to have better health and a better quality of life.
Thank you. And I recently saw in one of Nyla Nugent of 3D to 5D consciousness talks where she actually was a little hard on yoga, claiming that yoga can subconsciously affect you in negative ways. Some of the postures that people take are of a negative metaphysical quality, and they will come back to haunt you in some way because of that negative quality. Now I'm thinking, I think you got this all wrong, Nyla. You must be thinking of some specific type of yoga that is of a negative quality in terms of the poses that you take. Or is it true that every pose in yoga could be used in some negative way, but it's all about your state of mind and mentality at the time that you're doing it, regarding whether or not it's going to affect you in some negative way? So do you, for lack of a better question, agree or disagree with Nyla Nugent that certain types of yoga have negative energies to them and will cause more harm than good?
When you get into any art form at all, it's very good to be grounded and have your earthly things in order and in affair. if you're partaking in any art form whatsoever, even Christianity, prayer, whatever it is, any type of spirituality, any type of exercise, martial arts, lifting weights, anything, if you're not well grounded, anything that you do could have a negative aspect on you. So I don't particularly see that any type of postures have any type of a negative or evil effect. I don't think that there's anything evil about yoga. There are energetic awakenings like Kundalini awakenings that I've heard of, that if people open up their Kundalini too fast, they can go into a rough spiritual experience. That is very possible. So make sure that you're well grounded and you have your common sense good before you do anything. And common sense is really not so common. So if you're well grounded and have common sense, then no problem. Then mental attitude, mental fortitude. The Yoga Sutras says the pain that we experience is there for our purification. So it says that you should accept pain for purification instead of reacting negatively towards it. It also says that God is like pouring energy into us, like energy from the universe pouring into us. And it says God is like the irrigation ditch flowing water through, and the farmer that removes the dirt from the irrigation ditch, that is the energy that comes in from God to remove our personal obstacles and shortcomings.
Thank you. Now, regarding the poses, and well, specifically the pose you're taking now, I see that you've chosen to do this interview with me while sitting on a stone pedestal of sorts, cross-legged Indian style. Now, I've heard a few people say that when you meditate, a lot of people think traditionally people taking like the lotus form or Indian style, whatever you want to call it, of the cross-legged form, is like a very common pose that people take while doing yoga or meditating. But I've heard some say that that's not a good pose because you can short circuit yourself crossing your legs like that. And also when meditating, like the common pose people take is where when they're sitting like that and they put their hands on their knees with like their thumb and one of their fingers connected with each other. And I was trying that pose at a conference that I was at, and when we were doing a group meditation, and the conference leader, he actually came up to me when I was meditating, and he took my hands off my knees and he put them in my lap, asserting that it's better to meditate with your hands in your lap than to have your hands on your knees with the thumb and one of the fingers touching each other. So do you have anything to say about that? It's better to just leave your hands lying in your lap than put them on your knees, and crossing your legs is not a good thing because you may short circuit yourself. Do you have anything to say about that idea?
So everything in life has positive and negative, and it's your choice of whether you're going to see the positive and the negative and how to react to it. So you could take anything. You could take vegans who are acting negatively in a certain way towards meat eaters. If you take the sciences, you can use them in a positive or negative way. So your aspect has a lot to do with it. So don't condemn things that you don't fully understand. Don't spread things that these are negative if you don't fully understand something. Make sure you fully research something before you go passing judgment on it. That's the first thing. The second thing is the cross-legged seated posture. You see us sitting in this because if you notice the legs, it makes a triangle. So the reason why we sit like this is because the triangle brings the energy from the universe into our core. And the core of the body works as the bio battery. The center of the intestines is like the battery of your phone. This is where your chi, your energy is kept, okay? So the triangle brings the energy here into the stomach. Now, when the hands are cross-legged like this, what you're doing is you're protecting your energy and you're reserving your strength. When you bring the hands onto the laps, if you put the hands straight up, you're receiving energy from the universe. You're open to receive. If you bring the hands palm facing down, you're closing off your energy. You're protecting yourself from your energy. For example, like a hater or something like that, you might want to protect your energy a little bit and protect your energy from the person. But if I'm receiving from a guru, a light energy, something that I want, I'm going to put my hands up like this. Then the mudras, there are at least 400 mudras, hand positions that you can put your hands in. And there's a science behind that as well. This is called Kubera Mudra, and it reserves energy and reserves strength. And you put the hands on the lap like this if you want to receive, like this if you want to put down. Now, it took me about 5 years before I could feel my chi and feel my energy. But if you're not right in the head, it doesn't matter what you do. So the process of calming the body is the first step in yoga, making the body calm, strong, comfortable, and aware. Just mastering those three qualities. Then the purpose of the asana is to strengthen the body so that the connective tissue, the huang, the cartilage, the ligaments, the tendons, the bones, the muscles, they get to a certain level of strength. Now, if you don't, can you hear me?
Yeah. Let me make sure my recorder's going again.
Okay.
The recorder's on. What? Okay, the recorder's on. Go ahead. Yes, continue.
Back to where I was. We got disconnected for a sec. So you have to get to a certain length of postural integrity in your body so that you can maintain your postural integrity. If you don't undergo the asana training or the strengthening of the body and the mastering of the posture begins to deteriorate. And then from that point on, you get diseased as you get older. If you do yoga asana properly at a monastic level, it's done so that your organs, your ligaments, your tendons, your bones reach a certain level of strength. And then you never lose your postural integrity as you get older. Now, when you build the postural integrity, you're building your body awareness, your strength of your body, and the strength of your mind. Then after postural integrity and body awareness comes breath awareness, then concentration and control over your mind. That's what yoga is.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And let's switch gears for a moment and move on to Reiki. Reiki is something I've been getting a lot of. Is it something that I can do? I've heard a little bit of debate on that, whether or not Reiki is something anybody can do. Whether you could just, at a Reiki session, utilize your infinite potential, excuse me, to do Reiki healing on anyone, but others would assert it's something you really should work at, practice a little bit in order to master. It's not something you just want to go into and try to give a healing to someone when you don't know what you're doing or haven't had any practice with it. Just because we got infinite consciousness potential doesn't mean it's good to just jump in there and do something you're not experienced in some assert. So what kind of Reiki do you do? And do you advise people to just try Reiki, or do you think experience is valid and you just don't go just in there and try and Reiki on someone without knowing what you're doing? It's better to practice with people and maybe get some instruction before you start doing it regularly to people.
That's an excellent point, Andrew. So if you start with, as long as you have good pure intentions in your heart, then you're on the right path. Anything that you do, you're going to get better at the more that you do it. If you have a draw towards Reiki, go for it. Don't force yourself into doing something that you don't want to do. Is Reiki helpful for everybody? Can everybody do it? Yeah, I'd say so. Definitely. Why not? Connecting to the Reiki energy and becoming a Reiki channeler is very good. And that's one of the things that makes Reiki so friendly as opposed to some of the Qigong healing techniques, is because the Reiki is very universal. You cannot really mess up with Reiki. As long as you connect to Reiki, the Reiki does the work for you. So really, Reiki is a very, very, very safe way to do your energy healing modality.
So you say it's a safe way. All right. I can certainly, I don't see why it would be dangerous. And so you're saying that you're not really going to, even if you don't know what you're doing, and you're just doing Reiki for the hell of it. Like, okay, I can do Reiki. I'm sure I can do it. But even without experience, you're not going to, you say it's safe, so you're not going to hurt anyone by accident, because the Reiki, it does it for you, right? Even if you don't know what you're doing. Is that what you're saying? You're not really going to hurt anyone in some way.
Right.
Oh,
Right. It really, you should connect with the Reiki master to connect to the Reiki energy at first. I know there's a lot of online stuff going on, and I'm not going to say anything bad about the online stuff, because honestly, if you're heading towards Reiki, you're going in the right direction. But you're best off connecting to the Reiki energy in person with a Reiki master, so that you can feel the Reiki energy in person. That's how I recommend doing it.
okay. Okay. Now, we got maybe about 5 more minutes to go before we reach the half-hour mark. And like I said, I'll make this whole entire interview free for everyone. We don't have to go a full hour with this.
Well, Andrew, about the hurting things with people, the first thing in yoga is ahimsa, which is non-harming. And
Okay.
the martial code is hurt before you maim before you kill. So if you have to defend yourself, self-defense is self-defense. When you go on the offensive and start harming beings, that's not good.
Exactly. So, of course, do no harm. Number one law of the universe. Excuse me. All right. So let's go to Qigong now, and this on the Qigong subject. So a Qigong, Qigong, whatever you want to call it, Qi, Qi, Qi. They're the same thing. The universal energy, basically the force flowing through the Jedi Master. That's the key. And Qigong, it seems like some people say the best time to do it is the morning. Other people say no, there is no best time, but others prefer to do it in the evening as a cool down. Do you have a preference in regards to time of day? And are there any specific Qigong poses that you really like relative to some of the other Qigong poses that are available? Enlighten us.
Yes, there are many words for ki, ka, chi, prana, energy. Either way, they're talking about energy. So the modern word would just be energy. You start by doing it in the morning when you wake up, after lunch, and at night. But really, it becomes a lifestyle, which becomes a habit, which becomes always in the present moment. So whatever you're doing it in the present moment. And as you do it more and more, the Qigong techniques become a part of you, and you become more and more aware of energy. But you're doing it wherever you are and in whatever moment that you're in. So the first thing that you do when you wake up is you go over your dreaming state and then your non-conscious state. So in the Yoga Sutras, there are 3 stages of consciousness. The first one is called the Nidra state. And that's the point at which from you lay your head to your pillow when you're completely unconsciousness, and then until you dream. So the absolute no fluctuation state, Nidra. The second conscious state is the dreaming state. That's the point at which when you go from completely unconscious, when you hit the pillow, completely unconscious, into the dreaming state where you're conscious, but you're dreaming. Then the third state is the awake state. That's when you're in your physical body, you're fully aware of what's going on, and you're awake. Those are the 3 stages of consciousness. The 4th stage of consciousness is cosmic consciousness, in which the 3 stages combine into one, and you attain higher consciousness, the conscious dreaming state. That's the 4th state. So when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is you go over the 3 states, then you go over all of your wisdom, all of your knowledge, all of your experience. After that, you go right into the breath. You bring the breath into the body, and the first thing that you want to charge is the legs. You want to get the oxygen into the legs and get the energy flowing in the legs and the body. Then you work with your breath, and you start to charge up your energy as soon as you wake up. Now, at the Shaolin Temple, they would make you go out and stand up outside right off the bat. But the bottom line is you're bringing the energy into the legs. Then after you bring the energy into the legs, you start to charge the chi in the stomach, pranayama. Then go into your meditation.
Okay. All right. I wasn't on mute, and I thought I was. Okay. So one question I think it's worth asking. Would I be correct in assuming that you actually think it's better to do yoga, Reiki, and Qigong while sober and not under the influence of cannabis or some psychoactive substance. I mean, it's one could say you definitely don't want to do it under the influence of a substance because, well, for one, those kinds of things are designed to help people get off addiction. Just ask Ricky Williams, the former NFL running back. There was a documentary made called Run, Ricky, Run, where he talked about how he allegedly quit football, said it was because he wanted to tour the world, but many asserted it was because he just wanted to smoke too much cannabis and not worry about getting tested for it. And but he was actually able to quit cannabis by taking up yoga. So and then he went back to football, and he enjoyed it, and he had a pretty good career. So would you say that better to do these things sober than under the influence?
That's an excellent question. So you really have to understand the teachings of Buddha, okay? Pleasure becomes desire, desire becomes craving and addiction. As soon as anything becomes craving and addiction, it's not good. So moderation is the main law in yoga, to do everything in moderation so that you don't become addicted. So there's different levels. There's the physical level of addiction, to where you're a heroin addict who can't even move because they're in pain and they can't function without it, to when you're addicted to things like television, Netflix, a couch, comfort, a home, these types of things. Then when we get into the topic of plant medicine, I'm very pro plant medicine, okay? But if you're not using it as medicine and you're just using it for a recreatory, pleasurable thing, then it becomes an issue. When it comes to the things like psilocybin, all of these other types, cannabis, they have their purpose in the world and they have their purpose in the universe, and they're good. They're not bad. But if you're not doing yoga, if you're not on the path to sobriety, they're not going to lead you anywhere good, because they destroy clarity. So if you have some kind of scarring, mental scarring, emotional scarring, physical pain, and you need to take the cannabis or the psilocybin to help you to heal from that, absolutely, they're great. They're fantastic. But if you're taking them every day on a recreatory basis, you're not headed towards healing. You're not headed towards enlightenment. You're not headed towards nirvana. So when you're doing the yoga, sobriety is definitely recommended. But if you need to take some plant medicine along the way, there's no problem with that.
All right. There's no problem with that if it's used as a medicine. Okay. Right. Okay, we've kind of reached the half-hour point. I guess bring this to a close. Like I said, I often go for an hour, but those interviews, some of them are pay-per-view, but yours will be free for everybody. Why don't you get anything you'd like to get out? And apparently you don't seem to have someone's at my door. You don't seem to have a website or anything, or do you? Do you actually maybe have a site out there that I haven't, that you didn't advertise on your Facebook page? People can visit. If you want to make a sales pitch out of it, where's your business located? If you want to get some clients, by all means now, make a sales pitch out of this. So why don't you close us out? Anything you like, make a sales pitch, and plug your info if you want. People can maybe reach you somewhere other than Facebook.
My tag is Master, M-A-S-T-E-R, Vincent, V-I-N-C-E-N-T, Ferrer, F-E-R-R-E-R, like a ferret, but with an R. That's my tag across all my platforms. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. My book, The Yoga Sutras by Master Vincent Ferrer, is on Amazon. Please give it a check, give it a read. Thank you guys very much for your time, and make sure that you spread the wisdom and the knowledge.
You're very welcome. So, all right, take care. Namaste, my friend.
Andrew, I thoroughly enjoyed the interview, my friend. Yeah.
Yes, short, sweet, and to the point. Awesome. So I'll get it uploaded. I got someone else I have to upload before yours, but I'll get this uploaded sooner rather than later. Take care and good luck. Bye-bye.
Namaste, Andrew.